Hello and welcome back to the Eternal Dawn channel. I am the Captain, Straw Hat Lucas, and today I'm joined by, of course, my lovely crew. I'm going to go around and let them all say hello for themselves. First up is the first mate and historian of the Eternal Dawn, Mr. Kube at the Red Sea. Kube?
Hey guys. I don't know I'm gonna say this week because we are in a whole new level with this chapter. I'm really excited, honestly. Man, I can't wait to have the discussion, man. Like, I think this is peak over peak over peak. So yeah, I'm excited, man. Let's get it going.
Yeah, peak week indeed.
Crazy.
Next up, the helmsman of the Eternal Dawn, Mr. Nak Reacts.
How you doing? How's everybody doing?
Mm.
I'm excited to get into this chapter, and I think we got some spicy takes to go back and forth with. So stay tuned till the end and get our ratings from everybody.
Yes, and last but certainly not least, the head cook of the Eternal Dawn, one of my closest friends in the whole wide world, Mr. Vexus, the lurking legend.
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Vexus, the lurking legend. Y'all can just call me Vex. Oh man, lock in, sit back. This is gonna be a crazy one for sure. I'm hype, as always.
Agreed. I'm very hype. And to start us out this week, we actually have a gorgeous color spread. We got the East Blue 5, it looks like, and then Robin, missing some of the other Straw Hats, Lilith, and Bonnie. Oh, Chopper's there too, so it's the first 7 Straw Hats. They're eating in a diner. This is a really gorgeous scene, I'm not gonna lie.
First at a diner. This is a maid cafe, bro.
Listen, I was trying to be, you know,
right there.
a little bit more respectable.
Oh, it's cute. It's real cute.
It is adorable. Why is Bonnie carrying something that says "Rest in Peace"? Who is passing away?
No. She's carrying the coin bag because they're all overpaying for the price. See, Usopp is freaking out at the bill.
Yeah.
Bonnie's running off with the bag that says "rip off" because it's all the money.
Oh,
and
it's funny. Nami wrote on Luffy's like omelet there, my gold mine. That's
yeah,
so funny. I would like to bring some attention to Sanji in this color spread and remind people who have been saying that Toei has been performing a character assassination to sit down. Like, calm down.
Look how happy my man is. He could die in this moment and he'd be completely happy.
I might have an idea on the whole rest in peace, because you know there's the sheep behind it. It seems that it's like the crew that was on the Mary. So I'm wondering if the rest in peace is for the Mary, like it's maybe honoring the Mary in a way.
It just says rip off. Like, I'm pretty sure that's just Nami's wallet. Like,
Nami's
wallet probably just says rip off, you know.
Or maybe it's money to give to Shaki. You know, she has a rip off bar.
If that's like, this is him playing with us. Like, there's no way he's gonna do this. So don't overthink that. Definitely.
Brooke, Frankie, and Jimbei are the only ones not represented here, right?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like all the people. It's all the crew just before we get the Sunny.
But we have Lilith and Bonnie, which is crazy, and then two random characters.
No. They're right now. They're expat. They're tourists on the ship. Don't worry. They're like law.
They're tourists.
Well, the cat's freaking out about the price of it too.
It's Nami's conscience.
Listen, don't be decent stripes.
I was gonna say the same thing, Mac. Like, I was gonna say the exact same thing. But I think it's a nice color spread. It's goofy. It's, you know, it's been a minute, you know. I'm a little upset we didn't get more of the Yamato cover story. You guys know me, 5 more years.
5 more years, baby.
I love the Yamato cover story, and anybody hating on it is just impatient. Like, so that's like my only detraction from this color spread, is it gets in the way of me seeing Yamato, you know, just interacting with every single citizen that Wano has ever had.
Yeah. Look how adorable Robin looks.
She do, though, for sure.
She do look so... No one rocks bangs like Nico Robin does. It's beautiful.
Lilith is looking pretty cute too.
Who?
Lilith.
Lilith, yeah.
Who?
I thought he said Luffy, and I was like, Luffy is shoving his face full of food.
The funniest thing is, look at Luffy.
Come
He's
on.
like wearing.
Luffy's
He's wearing
always
like
cute.
he's wearing like a
It's
Sanji
true.
adjacent drip. He has like a tie and a collared shirt. And if you look under the table, he's still wearing sandals. It's so
Good.
funny to me.
That's so good. Great catch. Seems like a nice scene.
Any other thoughts on the cover story before we get into this chapter proper?
No.
Cover story, color spread, I should
think
say. Yeah.
I think we cut straight to the chase, which this chapter does not. It does not pull any punches right away. We are straight into the heat with this like reaction spread of several of the Straw Hats like freaking out, and we get right back into the crazy cliffhanger where Gabon took Summer's arm off and seems to have figured out some way, using maybe hockey, maybe some other technique, of preventing the regen ability. Is such a sick panel of Scopper just like cleaving through, and you can see his like sword just like dangling there, and he's just like keeled over. Like, I love this. This is so dope.
And I still think it's still anybody's guess how he actually pulled it off. Still, I don't think we actually got confirmation of that here, even though we do see a little bit of a, advanced observation from Scopper later. I think
And we've got this like hockey lightning coming off of his weapon, but it could be any number of things. Who knows? But yeah, like I think it'd be really cool if we get like a reveal that it's similar to like when Brooke showed us that salt was the answer in Thriller Bark. And you know me, I gotta mention Thriller Bark as early as possible and do every stream and recording. But
unfortunately,
no, not unfortunately. I thought the same
tonight as well.
Yeah, I thought the same thing though.
Saturday.
Vex, is that Gabon will probably reveal what he's doing to these immortals, to the Straw Hats, in a similar fashion to Brooke with the salt on Thriller Bark. That was like my first thoughts when I was like digesting this chapter.
And I won't lie, I feel like that plus what he's saying, I'm rusty, is very what's called symbolic, comparing that. Rayleigh did the same thing where he said, "Oh, I'm out of shape with Kizaru," when he turned his leg back to light to tangible, and then he was the one who actually spoke in details to Luffy, like, how can you turn a Logia user tangible and hurt them? So I feel like we're going to learn that whatever they're gonna learn from Scopper is going to be like the last step, at least for Luffy, to now be able to to make it as his own as a Yonko. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and like we were saying before,
lesson.
it could be kind of like when Brooke showed us salt was the answer in Thriller Bark. It could be similar to when Rayleigh showed us that hockey was the answer in Sabaody. There's obvious potentials either way you slice it, for it to go in any number of directions. But like you said, Kube, like with him saying I'm rusty, this is crazy. He just low diffs a holy knight, like this guy who was like unanswerable to anyone else on this entire island, and then goes like, yeah, I'm rusty. Like, that's so sick.
I thought he was saying I'm rusty, like that's his real name. It's like Scopper Rusty Gabon.
Shut up. No.
Oh my god. Oh.
No, but just to emphasize what you're saying even more is just go to the next page and look at Scopper spinning his axe around and just, oh my god. He doesn't call him Gabon. He calls him Mountain Eater. Like, oh.
Right.
Oh god, it hits. It's so good.
I love this. Like, we don't get much like back and forth combat panels. So this was well done. I can actually follow what's happening. A lot of times that's not easy to pull off. But I don't get a lot of like substance from these panels. They're just kind of I absolutely breeze through these, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's hype.
Yeah,
but it's
I
like
get what you're saying.
I can't. There's nothing to sit on here. Like, I see the action in the pace that like I'm reading at. You know what I'm saying? Like, I love these fights animated and stuff. They come out beautiful. But like seeing fights, it's as long as I can follow what's happening, then I'm okay. But like,
I'll
constantly
actually
fighting in a chapter is tough.
Yeah, I'll speak a little bit more on that and like the action sequences once we get a little bit further into the discussion. But yeah, I have thoughts that I definitely want to get out, and they might be a hot take. So stick around.
So,
But
I do have something to say, and I'm gonna say this. We better when we get the God Valley part of the whole battle sequence with the Roger Pirates and the rocks. I'm gonna say this. I think we're not ready because if you think of all those people like Scopper, Rayleigh, Whitebeard, like if you remove the Odin flashback was too brief. We have to see those people at their prime because it's crazy how at old age what they're able to do. And I'm just wondering, dude, what? Especially now with the Gods Knights also being there, what kind of power level was in God Valley? You know what I mean? It sounds like it's radioactive. Dude, it must have been radioactive, all those crazy powers.
Well,
I can't wait, honestly.
It makes me wonder, too, if it was the government that destroyed it or the combat.
Dude, I'm already calling it. Garling is going to have his hand on the destruction of God Valley. I'm already calling it.
Well, it could be a mixture of
Yeah,
both, too,
I
right?
sense
Like,
it.
at the end of the day, we've seen how fast they robbed O'Hara from the maps when we got the absolute treasure that was fan letter.
I mean, I don't think we're gonna get any of that from the anime episode, though. I think only when or if we revisit God Valley will we get answers on that, and that's still not even like a given. Like that might not happen. Oda might never fully detail it. Maybe
never.
Maybe it'll be a 5-year long cover story. Like a flashback.
That's gonna be God Valley.
But there's much more meat and potatoes, as I say up around here in the next page.
Yeah, Oda, listen to Oda. This is a message from the Eternal Dawn. We forgive you for not showing us Rocky Port, but show us God Valley, please.
No, I don't forgive him for that. I do.
Anyways.
Yes. Yeah. So we are on the next page, which Scopper is relentless. Yeah. No. Yeah. They're relentless. But like Scopper's, I was looking at that top panel of the page where he's doing like, and you can see the motion of the axe going like this and then it going like this as well. And dude is just going at it. Yeah, Zoro and Luffy got overwhelmed by him.
Yeah, I won't lie, this sequence is interesting because
this is game of broken telephone, you know what I mean? Like they all have different stories they heard about him, and they come together and realize, oh crap, that's who this is.
Yeah, that's Scopper Gabon.
Yeah. I like this scene because it's a callback to Sabaody. Nami was I think one of the few Straw Hats. When she heard Rayleigh's name, she said, "Of course, if you've read a bit, you've heard about that name." It's very interesting that they're doing callback of Nami's pirate lore, knowing the pirate lore.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then we have Chopper making the critical, perspective decision here. He's like, I gotta figure out how he's hurting him.
Yeah.
And Robin struggling in the thorns here. This was absolutely tragic because the more, we were talking about this, she still feels pains of her extra limbs. So the more she tries to use her powers in this situation, it's just constant damage. And yeah, Jinbei spells it out for us, and I felt that. I was just like, ugh.
Yeah. I am so legitimately proud of Chopper though, because while everybody else was kind of sitting there, being like, "Oh, Scopper Gabon," he's like, "No, I need to figure out how he's doing this so that we have that advantage as a crew." And I have to agree with the Jinbei and Robin point as well, Nak. It is got to be devastating to Robin to want to help.
So good.
Yeah, she was doing so good, and then to not be able to do anything.
So I won't lie, I'm liking this interest to Chopper because I think there might be more he might know more certain information more than we think, because don't forget he is an adopted son and a student of Korea who keeps referring to her youth, and she's 141. So I'm wondering if it whatever that storyline, it's going to connect to a mini flashback of something that Korea told him a long time ago.
Mm-hmm.
Because she teased it, but no one would ever want to hear the reason why she's so young. So, I won't lie, I'm interested about the storyline with Chopper.
I am as well. I think it's interesting that it's him doing it. Usually it's something that one of the more combat heavy Straw Hats would do is be like, hey, this is how we hurt them. So for Chopper to be the one, it's almost as if he has a medical interest. Like, how are these people immortal as well? And how do you damage an immortal body? Yeah, like it's it's very.
Well, it's also there's a
ahead,
vacuum in roles currently. Like, yes, it makes sense that he might be interested in potential immortality or regeneration, given that he is the doctor and he has his history with Kureha. But it's also like none of the other Straw Hats can do anything currently. Like, so half of the crew is down in the underworld and the other half is wrapped in thorns or arrows right now. He is the only one who can currently take action at this point.
Yeah.
So he's stepping up. But I don't know if we would have gotten this if it weren't framed in such an interesting, perspective. Like, him hiding in the beard was kind of clutch. So it's pretty interesting, because people were complaining about it. I wasn't mad at it, but I was a little confused whenever whenever he was just stashed away not doing anything, and it was set up for this moment.
Yep. Oh, okay.
Yep. Great payoff.
Look at that scene.
Why do people complain on the internet, Lucas? Crazy. No,
I don't know. It's crazy. I can't believe they would do that.
I'm gonna wait for officials on this attack name, but it looks devastating as it can get. Like, this looks like
I love
his
a good
last attempt.
I love a good named attack. In any form. They're always really cool. So I'm very hyped to figure out what's going on here. And we even see like a Thorin rush from Sommers and him trying. It's just, this all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
Like,
this was Sommers' last. Like, this is everything he got by the look of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Last Stand.
The title of the chapter is 1 second, which we didn't really focus too much on. When I was first reading through this, I'm like, is this the 1 second? Is this what we're talking? He just like instantaneously dismantles this monumental threat.
It's incredible.
It's how fast it feel like this all took place.
In the same panel, like, this page was. This is a great combat page. It shows the Scopper is still fast, agile, and destructive. Like, it wasn't a lucky shot. He didn't catch Sommers off guard. He's just him.
Yeah, that's just him.
And then he's immediately off as expeditiously as he can be to go rescue Colin. So, like, this is a man on a mission right here. He barely missed a beat taking down a Holy Knight like it was nothing. This is insane.
Yeah.
Look at Chopper's determination.
You know what I mean? Like, he's like, I gotta finish this. Gone. I said some stuff in VC that I was joking around about, but he is a good dad. It's nice to see.
What did you say?
Yeah, what'd you say,
I don't know
Nate?
what you're talking about.
What did you say? What did you say?
I'll get to it.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, I do like that we do. Like, I don't even remember the last time we saw Chopper using his devil fruit.
Yeah.
Literally just using his devil fruit. Just that. Like, I don't even remember the last time we saw this. So this is crazy.
And this part here, like, the fact that he's running across these thorns.
Yeah, doesn't even care. He realizes how vital it is.
The line of thorns he has to run through in the panel above it. And you can even say, ouch, it hurts. And then thinking about what he needs to do.
Yeah, man.
Determined, man. It's great showing. Haven't seen this Chopper since Alabasta.
Nah, we've seen him since Punk Hazard Chopper was goated.
Okay.
Wano Chopper was goated as well. Healed half the battlefield. Like, holy crap, dude.
Yes, he just needed his cheerleaders.
Exactly. But no, this is this gave me that good old Straw Hat tingle. You know what I mean? Like, it's really
the transformation too. Like, horn point.
Exactly.
Is this horn point or leg point?
I think it's leg point.
I think it's leg point. Yeah,
because of the speed he gets. Yeah, but the old school transformation is just so brings it back, man. It's like, yes, Chopper.
It's like when we see him in his hybrid form, because we rarely see it anymore. It's like, yeah, it's hybrid Chopper. But yeah, the determination, everything. It's so well done, this chapter. I love seeing a good showing from Chopper. I feel like a lot of the Straw Hats who haven't gotten a lot of love lately have been getting a lot of love in Egghead and Elbaf.
I hope so. It's hard with the 10 crew members and then all the characters introduced and stuff. Everybody can't get shine every arc. Someone's gonna be left
Exactly.
behind.
And plus, Jinbei just joined the crew. Like, this is only his second arc with the crew. You can count Wano if you want to, but he kind of showed up like right before the battle, and that was it.
Yeah, he was just there for roof piece. Just before
Exactly.
Roof Piece started.
He's like, "You're
Yeah,
fighting
yeah.
an emperor? I got you." But back on track for us, we cut then to, it looks like the school. Am I mistaken here? Or yeah, this is
No,
the
it's
school.
the school.
No, they're setting everything on fire. Like we
Yeah.
see Killingham facilitating the order, like they wanted these giants to set everything ablaze. And this is something, like I mentioned earlier, that I had thoughts about how quickly everything happened, or seemed like it happened with Scopper and Sommers. Like it felt like it was in an instant, but then we get this depiction of these spread, like the crazy widespread flames taking out
One side of the
so
library, one of the
much.
school.
It's insane how quickly these flames would have had to have spread, and it kind of feels like inconsistency to me, because it's like, oh, that fight was like 2 seconds, like wham bam, thank you ma'am, and now we're like, it feels like an hour's passed, like a couple panels later. I don't know, this just seems very, it seems a
Fast.
little off to me. Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
Like it's a little too breakneck, and I kind of got whiplash from this. Like it also just kind of, man, it makes me feel so much worse for Ronya, which we see here in a little bit, is that she
I feel-
is taking this guilt on for her entire like people, her entire country, and not just their history, but the history and the will of Ohara. And she's like blaming herself. And like, I'm for real, like And right now. Like, I'm just like, man, this sucks. Like,
Sucks.
Yeah, man. I feel Ronya and Ange are really, and I won't lie. There's a panel of Robin that just kills us.
It's
but
on the
I-
next
I really
page when
feel
we
for
see
those
the library go up. Yeah, that
Yeah, so I do feel like
Robin,
those three
Shaw.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah,
No, no.
they both. Ugh.
Yeah,
well,
the Robin one. I'm gonna say this: Robin, after try to uncover what her people uncovered, for 22 years, finally to getting to her people's work, to seeing being burned right in front of her eyes. Dude, I feel so bad for Robin.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah.
this is crushing. This isn't just
Crushing.
O'Hara's research though. This is the Owl Library. Like
Yeah, as well. Yeah, yeah.
Big
further
Love's
than
in
the
there.
4th century stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is. Yeah.
oh man,
yeah, after seeing the damage and some of the individuals' reactions to it, we get back to like Ronya having to walk the plank, like I mentioned, and her just completely putting all of the blame of this on herself. And this felt so, I don't know. I actually just put a bad taste in my mouth. Like I did not appreciate this, because it's like she was so willing to self-sacrifice, even though obviously that would not have done what she thought it would. I understand that from like a narrative perspective, but it just feels like she is being punished unnecessarily right now. And like, I don't know, dude, it hurts. Like
it hurts because
I don't know if I like this portrayal of like what we're seeing right now. It's just, it seems so,
It's real.
It gives
That's
me the
why.
whole. It gives me the whole Kuma as a child saying, "It's better. I'd be better off dead." Like no child should be thinking like that. It's like it's.
Well,
messed up.
yeah, because I was thinking when I was reading it, like just how Rania must feel in this moment. You know what I mean? Like Vex
Yeah.
had said, she was willing to sacrifice herself completely for her entire country, and now her entire country's history is being burned. And as a child, all she can comprehend is this is happening because I'm still alive.
yeah,
And
she literally said,
it's
I'm sorry
so
for
rough.
being alive.
being alive,
Like,
yeah,
that's-
like oh my god.
Not
Oh,
cool.
listen, I'm gonna say
Robin,
this. I feel
go
like
talk to that girl. You're the only one who can heal her right now.
yeah, I'm gonna say this. I think Rania fits. She could be a perfect candidate with Otama as the young Grand Fleet members.
Mhm.
Just saying. Just I feel like
The vibe. She gets the vibe. Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I'm really liking and I won't lie, for a character is what, a 2-chapter character, the way she's hitting people is crazy.
Oh, I teared up when I was first reading this scene, and she was saying like, "I'm sorry to be I'm alive," and like, Gunko saying to her, "Is it so hard to show a little bit of joy?" Like, oh man, that I was tearing up reading this at work. And then Dory and Brogy and all them be like, "That's not true, Rania. Stop it!" Like, oh, this poor girl. But then, but then,
Dun, 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 dun. The
here he
goat
comes, Rusty.
arrived. Shut up.
Culture, history, children, even military might. Look at my man standing on all business to Gunko.
She knows who he is.
Oh yeah, immediately the Pirate King's crew.
It's crazy. Like, and
That's
man,
That's kind of huge.
it is huge. Yeah. It's just like, again, I didn't really, I don't know. This interaction felt a little off to me as well. Like with Colin, I get it. Plot has to happen, but Colin like immediately yapping like, "That's my dad. He can beat up your dad." Like, I don't know. Like,
Yeah, you think that Colin would have been coached his whole life to be like, you can't tell people that that's your dad if they know who he is. You know what I mean?
Right.
I mean,
Yeah,
I,
but I feel
There's reasons why
feel
he
like
stays
Colin-
away from Colin. Like, that's the whole reason why Colin can't spend time with his dad. And like,
Yeah.
for him to just do that off the Coulter. No, I'm saying like he should know not to do that.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
Ted's not
but I mean,
around
I'm not
for that
gonna-
reason.
although he is 20, he's still like
10.
a preschooler in giant. He's
Excited,
20 years
yes.
old. Yeah, he
No,
is
like
20
no, I'm
years
saying like
old.
he's like a 10-year-old, if
Yeah,
not like
yeah,
a
so, like,
younger.
it-
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be too ate up that he can't read a situation like this, but because I get it, because plot has to happen. It just feels bad. Like, you know what I
But
mean?
like in my honest opinion, if I had to see a clash, like Gunko do something that put Rayleigh or Scopper, excuse me, in danger, even though he wasn't, Colin wouldn't be able to tell, and then he would say something like this. Not just like a happy kid when his dad shows up. Like I really thought that was at a point too. This is one of the things we
Mhm.
agree on, Vex.
Can we just talk about how, not to bypass what you guys are saying, but when Colin does reveal that Scopper is his father, the look on Gunko's face immediately, like even without the glare text, like you can tell what
She knows.
she's thinking. Yeah, she's like, "That's my key."
She
That's
immediately
Military
noticed
trained.
that's the mark. That's the
Yeah.
weak link in the chain. That's my ticket out of here. Like, my
exactly.
get out of jail free right now. And like, it's because Scopper is thinking the same thing. Like these two reaction panels, they're both like, I gotta get to that kid.
Mm-hmm.
Like, none of these other kids matter right now. And Scopper knew that going into this situation. Gunko did not. And it was through Colin's yap that now Gunko is also made aware. And like, it's critical. Like, she seems pretty blasé about it. He's on edge, and like, this immediately puts him at a disadvantage, which is something that when you introduce a character this strong, you kind of have to.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
And that speed feat, like Scopper jumps at her and she pew, gone. Like he's swiping at dust in that panel.
Yeah, this is crazy.
The tear
Scopper-
on Colin's face.
Scopper
dude.
is Scopper is
Oh.
definitely Scopper is definitely crazy fast, because even the
I
speed he
believe
did
it.
to go from Summers area to Gunko was crazy fast as well.
Oh yeah,
I totally
quick as
believe
hell.
it. I just think this is showing us something else on a different level. Like the fact there's literally dust her whole track. This just happened. This was one instant motion.
Yeah.
I do think
Yeah.
she could be propelled by her devil fruit though, with the arrows. It's the same
yeah,
thing
you're
that she used to get a harder hit on Loki.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I
Colin
mean,
just
you also
looks.
have to
Go ahead.
assume that through interacting with her devil fruit, and we'll see it here in a second, but we've seen it before with Loki as well, is that through interacting with her devil fruit, you're kind of just screwed unless you have a level of future sight,
Yeah.
of like precog. And so it would make a lot of sense if she herself also had that same ability to help keep up with like these people. Like, it's like with Green Bull. He's like, you think I wouldn't counteract my weakness whenever they
Yeah.
tried to catch his vines on fire? Like, it would make so much sense if she herself had advanced observation hockey. and it just hasn't been fully
100%.
spelled out for us. But like that would like it would
Mm-hmm. Just covering over bases.
It's too perfect, because like that would make her fruit that much more powerful. It would explain why even Loki, who has exhibited future sight feats in front of her, was not able to do anything about it.
Yeah,
because she has just more working towards herself,
Yeah, for real.
and less against.
Yeah.
Yep.
I have to say something about Ganko and the attack that she's threatening Scopper with. We've seen some like messed up, type of moments like with Momo and stuff like that. I won't lie, for some reason, the way she's holding the weapon to the neck, I'm saying, dude, that's just messed up.
Yeah.
Someone needs to tell Oda, just because they're giants doesn't mean you can just keep eating giant kids every chapter.
Oh my god.
Like,
that's
it's
20-year-old.
crazy.
So we do get to the 1 second from the title, and it is Scopper asking Colin if he can hold on for just 1 second, because he knows if he can pull off what he's trying to pull off, it can get the fires put out and get the kids rescued. But this
I'm
part,
a little skeptical on that. I think this is more him begging for Colin not to overreact so he can try to think of a plan. I don't think he's as specific as everything that happens in the next few panels is 1 second. But
No,
I could be wrong.
No. It's a figure of speech 1 second, not actually.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
1 second.
Yeah, like,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
this is a for sure a dire situation, and as we move a little bit forward and we see Colin crying his eyes out, like saying, "I'm a warrior, please defeat her," and then she says a really interesting thing, which we will for sure focus on more in later in the discussion, but I just wanted to bring it up right now. A life cannot be returned.
Yeah, a life taken cannot be returned.
And this
a life
little
taken.
flashback
This is crazy.
does so much more than all the fighting for me. Like seeing how Gaban actually was with his kid.
And
Yeah.
how
the way he
big that
treated them.
baby is.
The treasure of
Look
a
at that baby.
lifetime, man. That's how big
Dude,
baby.
see? No, the
He's
way
such a big
Scopper,
cutie. He can fit in his child's mouth, bro. It's crazy.
I have to say, I have to say it again. The way Scopper is on Ripley's body, how small he is, how? When I look at Colin, how?
Listen,
You don't have to worry
don't
about that. Just
question
enjoy
it.
the moment.
Don't question it. Yeah.
Just enjoy the moment. Like this would be played with like that soft music, like da da da. You know what I mean?
Dun,
Oh my God.
dun,
This would be
Stop.
fantastic.
dun.
But yeah, I think that
Yeah.
like you said, Lucas, this is the treasure of a lifetime. But this is somebody who let's really unpack that. This is a man who has been to Laugh Tale.
Yes.
This is a man who saw Roger accomplish his dream. This man knows more about the treasure, like just the word treasure, than possibly anybody else on this planet other than Rayleigh. And he's saying this is such a great
This is huge,
piece of dialogue. Ugh.
Someone who's actually experienced life to the fullest, to have lived a lifetime, and this is it. This is the moment that he has chosen to be his perfect
the other part
moment.
too. He's not just like declaring that. He's thanking someone for giving it to him, as if like he couldn't do it alone. And then, you know how the crew, like we've heard that the crew was crushed after Roger, and like they all kind of went off. So I can only imagine how difficult that was for him. So this truly was probably where his hockey came back into fruition in life, and he became this beast that we're seeing here now. Like he has a treasure worth fighting for.
Yeah, and we do also see that he has his scar in this panel where he's saying this, which is a scar that he did not have whenever we got the panel or the moments of them approaching Laugh Tale.
Yeah.
Mhm.
He didn't have that when they were facing off with the Whitebeard pirates. So this is a scar that he had gotten since Roger's execution, which is also kind of interesting. So this guy's seen some shit like on several different levels, and for him to say this is so huge. This is a phenomenal moment. And yeah, it is crazy. And for us to go straight from that to seeing Ripley in the present
Yeah.
time, really, really, really worried about her child, and blood starting to, like get pulled from his neck. Like she full on has like the weapon breaking skin at this point. Like Gunko is not holding back. She means business. And the
ultimate
rage.
faith in her husband. She's not saying like get him, Scopper. She's saying Colin, just be okay. Whatever Scopper does is the right decision, kind of thing. And that is tragic, knowing what we know coming up on the next page.
Yeah, especially with him, the future sight vision of his son getting impaled in the neck is something I've never wanted to see. Like,
but not just that, we also get this: if I can't stop her here, the tragedy will worsen.
Yeah, and then he sees that.
We turn panel, and he can't stop her. So that's Oda telling us it's just getting started. And like, if we all know what happens at the end of the chapter, but exactly that happens.
Yeah, I'm gonna say this. We've seen a lot of wounds, horrible attacks, those kind of stuff. The way that we're seeing that future sight, for me, it sounds like it's so torturous. Like, it's so messed up. The way, she's stabbing him, for me. Like, it's not even like cutting his head off completely. It's just stabbing through.
The other side of it, too, we haven't seen anybody that has real relationships or care for people see a vision with future sight like that. You know what I mean? We got Shanks, who's like this lone wolf. We don't really know. We know he's like seems to be a nice guy and whatever. And we had Katakuri, and like, he wasn't worried about his sisters or anything. You know what I mean? Other than Branch.
But also like even the Shank stuff, protecting his crew. It's not as detailed. You're right. The details of this one is really messed up.
Well, he's seeing his son. I think that's why it's so vivid and dark for us. Like Oda's making a point. Like totally. He's not just. This isn't just like a combat situation. Like this is really messing with him.
Yeah, I mean, look at the next few panels, guys. Straight up, he's begging her legitimately. Please stop. I give up. Like that is the face of someone who cannot let the future that they've just seen become a reality. And I think this whole chain of events right here on this double spread page that Oda graciously drew for us is just terrifying for both Scopper and Colin. I mean, Gunko immediately calls him weak and just takes him out, throws him off a cliff, basically. And Colin has to watch his father do this. Someone who, like he just said, is this immense strength in his life. Someone he sees as
his hero.
It's his hero. Yeah. No better way to say it. It's his hero.
Yeah.
I could not imagine how bad that could go. But
kids and parents, man, it's just
it hits hard,
and
it does.
Yeah, we see him break. We see Chopper start to sweat. And,
Chopper catches him.
Yeah, but
I think he jumps off. Yeah. So I do have a gag prediction with this, because obviously this is where the area where Rania was, and they said that they were just over the underworld, the realm of the dead. The last time we saw Loki and Luffy, they were still very fat. I'm wondering if Chopper and Scopper are gonna land on Loki's stomach, like very One Piece gag, like as they land, he'll soften the cushion. But they're gonna have to drop. I just don't know if Chopper can withstand the weight of falling.
He's got shield. He's got the shield point where he grows all the big fur. Guard point. Thank you.
Yeah, guard point.
Yeah.
But I thought it'd be very funny if they fall on Loki's stomach.
Chopper just came in clutch this chapter. Like, he was on game. He was like, everyone else is doing what they're doing. I need to figure out how he's hurting these people.
If Vaughn falls anywhere near Luffy and Loki, that is just too convenient. I'm sorry. The underworld is massive. It's a country.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to fall. I think Chopper will catch them. Like, he'll jump to another tree branch just below them or something like that. Because of how agile Chopper is, and he grew up running ropes across Drum Island. Like, you know what I mean?
What if they do a callback to Drum Island, and we get a reveal that Chopper has a new point called Sky Point? Because remember the whole beginning of Drum Island, he was Santa Claus's reindeer. He was flying in the sky, but it was on the
that's
rope.
What I was just referring to is when he was running across the ropes, like on Drum Island. I think that would be cool. Vex, I believe you had something you were wanting to say.
Yeah, it was just about like before Gabon actually fell, whenever he was having to face the decision of losing Colin or letting Gunko continue to do what she was going to do. I'm actually a little bit curious here is if the reason why he decided to give in and save Colin is something of a putting his faith in the fact that the Straw Hats and the Warriors of Elbath will do what he cannot right now because it would cost him too much. Like, how much does he really know in this moment? We don't know exactly how far forward he is able to see with his future sight. And maybe him having to kind of weigh the decision of like this whole nation and its people and its history or my son, because like realistically, if him going down here means defeat like for the entire country, there's no guaranteeing that Colin would be safe in the first place. So him giving up here, I think, may potentially be more indicative of him believing that the Straw Hats will ultimately pull through.
Yeah, this isn't him putting his son over everything. This is him having
because
faith
I feel
in
like
people being able to finish what he started.
I feel like if it is him choosing Colin over everybody else, and there's not even a guarantee that Colin will survive, doesn't seem consistent with the writing that we've gotten from him thus far. So I'm hoping maybe I'm coping. I think he does know a little bit more in this situation that we're not being shown. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, when you were saying it gave me the vibe, obviously in a different way, because we don't know how much if he knew something about Marineford, but it's a bit how Whitebeard made the decision. He realized the best option to save his son is to send his brother, Luffy, the rookie of the whole event. He's giving me that type of vibe as well. You know, like he is losing his son, but he's putting his faith maybe on something else. Yeah, a last gambit type of thing. But I think with Copper, it could be more like we don't know what he knows about Laugh-Tale, so maybe like Odin was pretty convinced that Luffy was going to show up in Laugh-Tale in exactly 20 years. So we don't know what other things the Roger parts know. Maybe there's also something with Elbath. He knows that there's certain stuff he can't do.
Well, I mean, they know that whoever gets Elbath is going to be like a turning point. Like that's why the world government's there anyway. So I feel like Scopper would know that as well. So I think Vex, I think you're 100% right about this. I think he knows more, or just like Shanks and Rayleigh before him, he's putting faith in the next generation.
Yeah. Not to mention Fishman Island. They also know that at one point, someone that looks like Luffy will destroy the Fishman Island.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like definitely, like it's Scopper knowing something.
Definitely a dilemma he faced before he made that decision too, right? Like, if I can't do this, if I can't stop her, it's going to worsen. And then I'm sorry, Elbath, like after he struck. So he did have to like eat some humble pie there a little bit and realize like this isn't my fight anymore. Like I'm not the hero that saves the world again. I can't go risking everything just for one child. That could end up destroyed if I do the wrong thing here anyway.
Exactly. And he would know like it's better to save my child here and now than let him die and lose the bigger fight as well because of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This is another reminder of Dragon made the right decision a long time ago of, keeping himself away from Luffy.
So we do go.
A lot of people were bringing up the quote that he said to Kuma in the woods is like that a child is a parent's like greatest weakness, and
there you go.
This is just hammering that home. And I'm glad that Scopper isn't necessarily a deadbeat dad like so many other people that we have in the world of One Piece. And maybe there's one more name to add to that list. We'll get into that. But I mean, it does seem like there's more to what made him make his decision right now. Like I don't think he expected himself to go down, and like I don't think that he has to be a little bit more confident and calculated. Otherwise, this feels off to me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So we do get to the next page, the final double page of the chapter. We see Colin yelling out, "Daddy!"
Very spicy reveals here.
Oh my God! And Gunko hears this, right? She hears this "daddy" being yelled. I heard this "daddy" being yelled at, and she starts someone screaming father in herself before having a memory of herself screaming father. And deeper into her memory she goes. And who does she see, guys? Who does she see?
That could be anybody.
Oh yeah, that could be anybody with an afro. And saying yo ho ho ho. That could be anyone with an afro saying yo ho ho ho. And telling a child, you see, my dream is to be a child or a pirate. It's actually
what's it called? It's actually Brooks' brother who is a chef called Cook.
Yeah. No, let's be serious now for a second. I didn't think Brooks' dream was to be a pirate. I thought he did that after like some moral justification happened that he couldn't.
We don't know who.
We don't know. Yeah.
Like, yes, it's showing. Like, so her text box saying father is illustrated in the same way as the yo ho 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 and the you see my dream is to be a pirate. Maybe it's her dream, or it was.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, there's so many different ways that this can be sliced, and like it might not even be like a legitimate father-daughter relationship, because we do see in a text box in the present time that she calls him Brooke, not father.
Yeah.
So like I know a lot of theories have been bouncing around that it could be like a Bonnie Kuma situation, or like some other like semi-parental but not biologic or anything like that. Like, but it opens up such a crazy can of worms.
Yeah, I think let's get through the last few pages, or last few panels here, and then we're gonna go deep into this, because I'm sure we all have multiple thoughts about this. This is one of just an amazing reveal. Like, let's be real. We do see Brooke is also thinking the same thing. He's looking at Gunko and being like, yeah, they do look alike, and getting so distracted that Usopp's yelling at him like, hey, we need a plan. But Gunko takes off. And
this literally says out loud, my apologies. Like,
yeah,
is that him responding to Usopp, or is this him?
I think it's him talking to Usopp. That's how I interpreted it.
That's fine, but is this what his thoughts are slipping out?
It could be.
It is. I'm sorry, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Sorry, like I wasn't there.
Yeah. Ooh,
like,
don't do that to me yet,
Nat. Regretful man. Right?
I just assumed that he farted and then said, oh, my apology.
That is on brand for our lovable skeleton. But as Gunko is running...
Is that you, Brooke? These eyes are...
Yeah,
cracked.
that's what I was about to say. Her eyes go pinpoint, and she kind of screams and lets out a cree and an ugh. And as we see Mr. Sommers...
possession happening, right?
That has to be it.
I'm not crazy. We
No,
see her
you're not.
eyes 2 panels to the right, and they're not shaded
Like that at all.
Or hatched in the same position. So it's not just shadow. It's shadow.
It's her eyes.
You know what I'm saying? It's emu shadow, baby.
Well, we get a booming voice over a panel of Sommers, shrouded in shadow, as Knack is saying right now. What is with all of this commotion? The Holy Land is currently in a sea of flames, which what? You seem to require additional military force. Emu will show thee the dominion of God. I'm gonna say Emu until officials. You know what I mean?
Dude, no, actually, okay. I have a great nickname. I call that person Gimu. Gonko Emu. Gimu.
Yeah, Gimu.
All right.
But even killing him is like great Emu as he hears the voice. Her face got all scary.
Yes.
Guys, before we get into the full discussion, I have to say this real quick. Sorry, Nick. Can we just give like a moment of praise to Ichiro Oda for the absolute madhouse run he has had since the beginning of 2025?
It's been pretty wild, yeah.
Yeah. We got the Saul reunion. We got like all of this. Holy Knights, Shamrock.
Ever since Egghead has started, he's been on a crazy run. I'll just say that. You take Egghead as well.
Like, this might go
crazy run.
Like, if this is only the beginning of the final saga, I don't think we're ready for the rest. Now, I do have thoughts on Gunko real quick. Yeah. This is my current train of thought is that she may be the princess of the kingdom, that Brooke served for. I don't think she's calling Brooke father. I have to shout out
Me
to
too.
our homie Dexter as well, because me and him were talking, and that's what got me on this train of thought. But I'm wondering if it isn't God Valley. And I know that's a common take, especially with Brooke, that he comes from a kingdom in the West. But she's older in that initial memory, right? I'm thinking that's whenever 38 years ago when God Valley happened. And then we see in her infancy, maybe 18 years before that, Brooke's still alive and stuff, which would place this like 6 years before he went missing. That's just a rough timeline I've come up with in my head to justify it, but it could fit that she is tied to the royal family of God Valley, and maybe it was taken from that hunting game.
My problem with God Valley, and I've heard other people have that take, is 30 years ago it was not recognized as affiliated to the world government. So I feel like if they pulled a stunt like over 50 years ago, there would have been more in that story. You know what I mean? Like they would have eyes are taken over by now, or more to the thing.
That would, if she's from a kingdom, she doesn't have to be from a kingdom affiliated with the world government because she's not a saint.
No, I'm just saying that the way they talked about it is there's no history other than it's unaffiliated. That's why we chose it, and stuff like
Yeah,
that.
I
And
know.
like it just happens in a. That's only my pushback on. I think he's from another kingdom. That's my only pushback on the whole God Valley thing, because it was only
But there was a kingdom on God
ago.
Valley. We even saw in the flashback with Kuma.
No.
The
The fact. My thing is that if over 50 years ago there was something with God Valley with the world government, I feel like the way they talk about 30 years ago, from the few things we know about God Valley, I would think that they either took it over by now or there'll be like a history of war between them. And for me, it
okay, I
feels
see what
like,
you're saying now.
yeah, you know what I mean? Just because 30 years ago it was unaffiliated. That's my only pushback because
Yeah.
of that.
But I let me ask this question. It's why would they need to be have had some conflict with the world government?
For me, I think there are people who, other than the Giants, it seems that they don't really give up until they're willing to do anything to take over an island. So I feel like 15 years of time difference. It feels like they would have done something by then. Like when they did God Valley, it would have been already the island, the kingdom would have been already gone. The fact that the kingdom was still established makes me feel. Look at how people like Doflamingo or Roshi, how fast they are taking out the royal family. That's my only problem. But then again, we're missing so much storyline of God
That's
Valley.
what I was about to say.
You might be right.
Because they could have been hitting other islands, and God Valley just happened to be down the list of islands to hit. You know what I mean? Like,
So
there's not enough info there. Yeah, that's my thoughts on the Gunko Brooks stuff. If you guys, if we want to stay on that for a little bit before we get to the whole, Gunko got possessed by Emu thing.
So yeah, I do have a thought, and I know people are running on, and I do like the idea of possibly like because of Brooke being a former knight, and he joined the Yorkie to become part of the Rumble Pirates. It kind of gives me the vibe of Jinbei and Fisher Tiger with Koala, where Koala seeing Jinbei as an uncle and Fisher Tiger as a father. So I've always wondered, like, what if Brooke's role is more like similar to Jinbei or Pell or Igaram from with Vivi, where basically like they're close to family, but he is not the father. You could add Maria and at this point, you are not the father, Brooke. But yes, like it kind of makes you think of, and also it would explain how Gonko is saying now, is that you, Brooke? And Brooke couldn't tell instantly that it felt like he knew that person, but he wasn't sure. So that's why I think like this could be the plot twist: is Brooke is connected to Gonko, but he's not the father. Like it could be Yorkie or someone else that he knew. Maybe maybe the king. Maybe he was her protector, like Pell. And she was a princess.
Yeah. I think those are my two prevalent thoughts as well. Princess are tied to the Rumble Pirates, maybe in like a Uta capacity as well, like just a child that they adopted. Vex, I believe you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, while we're just spitting about the Brooke Gunko connection here, I think, in my opinion, this feels like extremely undercooked. And like, I don't know, maybe I've been spoiled by the mural because that gave us like so many open-ended it gave us so much to think about, and there's like all of these crazy theories that I love that seem very well researched, very well supported, whereas like with what we have currently to go off of, like the little tiny breadcrumbs that there are. Yes, there is something there, but it doesn't feel like we have anything substantial to really like speculate and pontificate from. And so it's just like the community is just taking a really long walk with like headcanons and stuff like that. And I don't know. I think
that's where I sit too as well.
Yeah,
I don't
nothing
think
seems
there's enough to tell us
convincing.
anything yet. We need to wait for him to explain this.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
nothing
why
seems convincing. Nothing seems plausible. Nothing seems obvious. And I wouldn't want Oda to like give us something obvious. That's not really his style. But I think that with other reveals that we've gotten, like with the mural and things like that, it even in this arc, but even in past arcs, it seemed a little bit more cohesive than it currently does. And this kind of just like, I hate to say, but it feels like it's out of left field or like forced. And I personally, I'm not mad if we get more Brook development right now, not at all, but I don't need that. He already has a really, really solid backstory. And I've spoken before multiple times in our community Discord, link in the description, about a lot of people think that like everything's going to be connected and that, oh, this is going to, come to light in the end game. I don't really need that. I feel like that makes the world feel a lot smaller. And cool if we do get some solid, development of this plot line in the future. But as far as it currently is, it's just left dangling. This feels not great to me. I don't think this is a great reveal, but maybe it will turn out to be something better once we have more information, more things to go off of. If they make Brook a deadbeat dad, I'll riot.
I think that part of the reason it may feel like that too is because we just don't know that much about Brook. Like, we know about his pirate life, but like we don't know about what came before that, and it's been a big point of contingency within the fandom as well. I said contingency on accident. Oh well. But it's it's been a big point of interest in the fandom, like what's going on with Brook's backstory, and then Gunko recognizing him as well. I'm trying my hardest to keep like an open mind to any possibility with this, because I do think you're right, Bex. There's no way of telling like plausibly where this is going to go at all because of how little information we have on both of these characters in the time frame presented by that one panel.
Yeah, to back up, I would agree on the Gakko thing. Vex is right. However, I've been saying this. I feel like the way they've been written, Brook, I've been waiting this for years, where we get more about. So, but I do understand like the whole Gonko thing is. I did not realize that's where we were going with the whole Brook thing. I would be more connected to him as a knight, not with a child. So
yeah,
I do also.
It's just
I do understand. Yeah. It's the
we
it's
just
the
got
way
Saul
he brought
back. And now we get this character from Brook's backstory. Next up, we're gonna see Belmere. Next up, we're gonna see Tom. And
we're gonna finally figure out who Frankie's dad is.
I'm obviously being a bit like exaggerative. Like I don't actually think that this was bad. I just think that what we have seen from Oda before is better, more consistently. So this does feel like an outlier as it currently stands. And if it develops further in other more recent, like upcoming chapters into something more palatable, I am very willing to accept that. I'm hopeful for that. But currently it just kind of feels lackluster, if I'm being real. A lot like, and I feel weird saying it because I am somebody who very much does not get on board with some of these people who criticize Oda very harshly. And I don't like to, I don't want anyone to think that that's what I'm doing. I'm just being like legitimate about how it made me feel when I read it. I've read through this chapter like 12 different times and I still can't really fully get behind this.
No,
I get it. Like I said, I've been, you guys have been hearing me for ever since we've known each other. I've been saying we need to know more about Brook because that Brook seems to know about stuff that he doesn't talk about, but he's also an antisocial. So if you don't ask him that specific thing, he won't talk about it. He won't realize to talk about it. But I do agree as well that from all the things that we would be maybe waiting for more of a Brook backstory, that is definitely coming out of left field. So I do understand the reaction as well. It's like from all the stuff, it could be the kingdom. It could have been some of the stuff he's been talking as time as a pirate, and his connection with a child that he knew that's now a god's knight.
Yeah, I get it. Vex is a fake fan.
It's a weird.
No.
Yeah, sure.
I'm joking,
But
I'm
no, like, I think
joking.
the thing is it yes, it's cool if we get a little bit more from him. And like the thing is like there's always been kind of this like, you know, schism throughout the community of people who are like, haha, Sanji gets 2 backstories and Zoro doesn't get any, and he just gets SBS'd and stuff like that. And so now like I worry about maybe the receptiveness of the community for some of this as well, because although I do think, yes, Brook has, I mentioned this like 3 streams ago on our channel, like live, we were talking about Brook has the most unknowns out of any Straw Hat, just the sheer numbers, because he's the oldest and we have so little about it. All we know about from Brook is in this life, but he had an entire past life that we barely have even, you know, touched the surface of, and it's like tip of the iceberg. But the thing is like, I don't need any more from Brook because he already has such a compelling backstory and driving character force. And so am I mad that we're getting more from it? No, I love that for Brook. He is my favorite Straw Hat.
Yeah.
Like I've been on record and said that several times over. I love Brook. I just, maybe it's that bias that is causing me to feel a little bit let down by this, because if we were going to get something, I kind of wish it would have been better established. But maybe it will be made superior in chapters to come. It's just as it is right now. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I think the best advice for it, let Oda cook and see, because
yeah,
I see your standpoint.
That's where
completely.
I'm at right now.
Yeah,
like, I'm
just
still
let the man
optimistic.
cook.
I still think that the rest of Elbaf is going to be phenomenal. I still think that what we've gotten so far has been phenomenal. I think that I took major issues in Egghead with the York trader reveal. I still loved that arc, and it's one of my favorite arcs in all of One Piece. You know, so like, and I'm not saying that this is quite like that, but like, you know what I mean? Like, I can have this gripe without immediately just like slandering Oda and feeling like this arc is doomed and One Piece is fallen off.
Yeah.
Like, that's not what I'm saying, but it is still a gripe nonetheless. You know what I mean?
No. I understand completely. I do understand. You're not saying that you want nothing of Brook. Is that
Yeah.
you
I
didn't
just
need
feel
you
so
didn't
bad.
need
Nothing
you,
burger.
you didn't
This
you,
is
you
just
didn't
reestablishing the connection that we already knew
Yeah.
that they were going to have.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There's nothing.
I feel.
It's
I
more
feel
like
I'm in the hot seat because I feel like I'm a little bit alone in this standpoint, because
I'll back you.
everybody else that I've talked to about this chapter is like 10 out of 10, 100 out of 10, gas, absolute fire, perfection. And I'm just like, was it? Like, I don't know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I was just
understand.
like I was saying. I think it's more like, since you were content with what with Brook, but you were not, obviously you're not against it getting more about his times before he was a robber pirate. But the way this is being shown right now, it's, since you didn't need it. The fact that it's coming this way, you're just having a reaction because, you know, there's also a lot of context missing. You know, just Oda
There's
put that
more
in front of you at the end
questions
of
and
the
no
chapter.
answers.
Yeah, exactly. So I get it.
It's another
It's
mystery
like,
box that is
not-
yet to be opened.
Yeah, don't worry. And also, Vex, I'm still with you. Egg is my favorite arc, and I still bring that up. The York trader reveal is still me for a very weak point in the story to this day.
Does anyone else have anything they want to say about the Brooks stuff, or can we start talking about Emu? Because I have a lot to say about that as well.
Yeah, so do I. Vex, you want to take us off?
Yeah. So, I mean, with the Emu Gunko stuff, I do feel like that was a little bit better framed and set up. And I don't know, like I reanalyzed everything. I've heard a lot of people's conversation points about it. And I do think that it was, you know, more believable, more plausible that we were going to get that connection versus the Brook connection. I was kind of just hoping that, like, we're done talking about the Brook connection for now. I'll let Oda cook. But with the Emu stuff, I think that it's way less out of the blue. It's really interesting, and I'm just really curious because, like, I want to know what's happening in the Holy Land. That's crazy, and we could spit about that for a full stream, honestly. But I think that it's what strikes me as odd about it isn't necessarily how it was set up. It's just that why is Emu deciding now to become an active figure in the main plot, as opposed to any other point in time? And I'm wondering if there's going to be some explanation of that. So it's I'm still not fully bought in here. I don't know what the hell is going on, but it does make a little bit more sense to me, and I'm more willing to like let Oda cook, like you said. But I do have a lot of questions about this, and it's crazy, dude. Like,
I think it's about time, boys, that someone writes the receipt. I was right. Emu is the devil and is making deals with the Gorosei. This is full on possession, though. And the more we see from Emu and their powers, the more I do think that the Faustian deal will play a bigger aspect. And I know I bring it up so often, but it's because, like, I really think I was onto something with that. What I wanted to bring up, though, is, do we think this is... Because, like, all right, no, this is full-blown possession, right? There's nothing else this could be. Look at the eyes, the concentric circles. Do you think that Emu has been watching this whole time, and that's why Gunko's eyes have been split down the middle the way they have?
I think it's the memory. Like, the memory that she had, she was about to go and help the Straw Hats, and that might be what really ignited the full possession, because that was a whole theme of Egghead, and with Kuma's full arc, is that, like, you can't fully eliminate, like, the will of a creature.
Body.
Yeah.
And so this is interesting, because has Emu figured that out? And that is something that even Vegapunk was not able to replicate with technology.
Ooh.
I think it's a lot to do with the line said beforehand, you know, with the Holy Land's on fire. I think, you know,
there's urgency with Emu.
Well, months back now, that when the Holy Knights get in play, we expect Dragon to move. And where else? Like, would he attack if the Holy Knights aren't there? We've seen Shamrock get pulled back, and now we're hearing that it's on fire. I think our worst dad in the East might be doing something.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, dude. Karasu was already perched up outside of Marijuana. Like, it makes complete sense that the revolutionaries. Yeah, he was. He was at.
You're talking about Lafitte. You're talking about Lafitte.
Wasn't Karasu
at Maritime Shipping House?
Yeah. Yeah, it was Lafitte who was perched.
Was it?
Remember, that was a typo in the translations. It wasn't the Marine headquarters, it was the Maritime Shipping headquarters.
Yep, you're right. Yes, you're right.
Yeah. But I still like that's.
I thought they were cutting off the food to Marie
still being destroyed.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about.
Being destroyed, so that, but we don't know how they're being destroyed. So
I thought Karasu was doing it.
Karasu.
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously it's obviously been ambiguous for a reason. Is that Oda doesn't want us to be able to figure out like what his next move is. It could be Blackbeard, it could be Dragon, could be Cross Guild, could be any number of different factions coming to play. But Kube, you had something you wanted to say?
Yeah, I won't lie. With this possession of Emu, this is my question, because I went to read back Dressrosa when Basti talks about Cavendish. Now I'm very curious about the whole Hakuba thing. If Hakuba, he made that comment of, we don't know if he's an alter ego or if there's more to it. But all we know is whenever Cavendish is in need, Hakuba always shows up, and he's the one who's the architect of all of his exploits. But you should mourn for Cavendish, because he's been exploiting it as well, taking all the fame from it. So now I'm really curious about Hakuba as well. Like, is Hakuba just an alter ego because Cavendish got crazy, or he got possessed by an actual person or a spirit from the past? You know what I mean? That's interesting. Like, are there more people like Hakuba and Gunko, Cavendish and Gunko, where they have like an actual being inside them who jumps in and out from time to time? It's like, for me, it's very interesting.
Well, I'm thinking that, if I may, real quick, Vex, I've been having this thought lately that we saw what was going on with Emu and their power system in Thriller Bark. And yes, I know, Vex's favorite arc, we bring it up all the time. But specifically with Nightmare Luffy and the consumption and distribution of shadows. And I've been having this thought lately that maybe Emu's giving the Gorosei power by giving them a piece of their shadow. Another reason they can't leave the Holy Land in physical form. They get burned by the sun for giving out their shadow. Anyway, and I'm wondering if when they get that symbol that allows them to travel through the abyss, if Emu doesn't impart part of their shadow into them or something of that effect, just a piece of them basically is in that sigil, and it allows them to tap into any of the holy knights, or if Gunko is like the only avatar that Emu has, or if there's more, and that's why she's not a saint.
That's a whole different discussion that I want to give the time that it deserves. But real quick before we pivot, I just wanted to mention, like, when we're talking about like the possession, like, and you brought up Hakuba and Cavendish as individuals who there might be some other figure residing within him subconsciously, that, you know, there's also a really obvious figure that we have to consider as well, is Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Right.
It's that
With Blackbeard not wanting to sleep, or somehow like choosing to not sleep, like we've heard that from him, from what, like Marco and Shanks and whatnot. But like
Buggy.
there's also and Buggy. There's also the fact that like the ambiguous dialogue from Jaya when Zoro and Luffy were noticing them instead of him and stuff. So there's these it's really interesting to believe is like we could be seeing possession in multiple forms or another, not just with Emu. I think that what's also, I don't know, it's really curious to me, because I'm not somebody who thinks that Roxy Zebek should still be alive in the narrative, but if there is some way of him leaking into the current era through Blackbeard, I think that's something I'm open to. And I remember when people were still wondering if Mother Caramel was partly in control of Big Mom through her whole arc, but we never got a full reveal of that. But like there's been several instances before of potential possessions, and I do think that Gunko is special, to get to what Lucas was saying, versus the rest of the Holy Knights, in that she is not a saint, and in that she did have that heterochromia, and that her power seems to have also been what Emu had used in the throne room to attack Cobra and Sabo. So I think that Gunko is, at least has been set up currently, to be distinct as an avatar, the vessel for Emu, as opposed to the rest of them. Because I don't see Shamrock or Sommers or Killingham being kind of painted in that similar light, right?
What if that is something that makes the Holy Knights and Celestial Dragons specials? They cannot be fully controlled by Emu, and that's why they keep them close. I don't know. This has spun so many theories off for me, because now that you say that, I'm thinking that, like, what if that's another reason to do the hunting games, is selecting avatars from commoners who Emu can take full possession of.
It also leads credence to the idea that Lily or
body swap.
Lily could have been possessed at some point, or that Nami's family seems to have a connection, because all I see is Nami in this picture.
No, that's definitely Nami hair. That's definitely Nami hair. Yeah, it's quite interesting.
It is very
Which I've always
interesting.
said. I always like the idea that maybe Nami and Emu are not that connected, but maybe Nami's story is a sort of because Nami's backstory is very similar to the brought up of Orochi and Doflamingo in a way. You know, something horrible happened to them. They get manipulated, and while Doflamingo and Orochi are the one who make fake promises, Nami was told a fake promise. So I've always wondered, like, what if, you know, there's something of Emu that he put in Nami's backstory, you know, because Oda loves the parallels. But I have another question about the whole possession thing. Could we have just now got the real reason why they erased the details of God Valley? Like if Emu pulled a similar stunt 38 years ago?
Oh.
Because that would actually explain. That would, that could explain the whole.
Enough to hide it, though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't.
Yeah.
Like, they didn't need more reasons to hide what they did.
No. But I'm wondering if this could be actually the reason, like maybe because of the way they described, like breaking too many taboos. I'm even wondering now, like this might even be another reason why, like an extra layer of why all the information was like re-erased to that point. You know, like maybe Emu showed up in God Valley 38 years ago.
Well, like I said,
interesting arc. Dude.
It is interesting.
Man.
Oh man, there's just so many possibilities. And like Vex and you both alluded to, Cube, it's been hinted at multiple times that possession is a factor in the story, just like magic could be a factor in the story. And I really, really, really think that Emu has some kind of black magic. I mean, it's a no-brainer at this point. The summoning circles, the ability to wirelessly remove the soul from somebody, like what we saw with Saturn. There's a power system here. Exactly, like in this,
life and death of Saturn. That's definitely black magic.
That's what I'm saying.
Like,
I brought it up.
Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. If I may, I brought it up several times in our chapter discussion before. In the original Romance Dawn, magic was a power system alongside devil fruits, and it makes me wonder if Oda liked that power system but saw it too powerful and was like, okay, I'm gonna give it to the final villain then, which would be Emu.
Yeah, and if we go back to before the tipping point, before Oda had decided to expand upon his story so much more that he has for the past 20 some odd years, right? When we were winding up for Alabasta and whatnot, like Oda had already anticipated that the story was going to be coming to an end shortly after Alabasta's conclusion. And in the beginning bits there, like when we meet Cube's favorite character, Miss Golden Week, happy late Golden Week. But yeah, like having her having some sort of like hypnotic power, and like Django as well, and introducing like what seems to be like the baby steps to this possession ability. It's similar to like when Luffy was juking like Enel's attacks by turning his brain off. That wasn't future sight, but it was like the front door to precog, you know what I mean? But it wasn't advanced observation. So there's like a half step in between like these actual feats that have been illustrated to us before in the story. And I think that hypnotism, which is something that Cube is focused greatly on, is like that half step towards this ability. So kudos to you, Cube, for honing in on that. I've known you for 3 years now, brother, and you have said so much about it, and so few other creators and voices in the community have focused on it like you have.
Yeah,
so kudos.
We have to give a huge round of applause to you, because I think you were onto something that no one else saw.
Because it's an SBS, and if an old video when we had TLA, it was one of our first videos, like really beginning. And there was something that Oda said in SBS, and that's what I glued in. And I think it's even more relevant when Oda writes basically a screenplay of the cover story, because he says, what did actually Django say to Full Body for Full Body to like change his mind on Django? And he said, they just became friends. And also Django only told this one secret about his hypnosis to Full Body, which was he has the ability to use the hypnosis to literally change a person completely, make him into a whole new different person. And then when I thought of that, I said, it's not saying that Django could do that. He's showing that is the limit to hypnosis. So it means that someone in this world is maybe able to like, it makes me think also of Koala. When Fisher Tiger found her, she almost had no personality of her own. Like, what if that's one of the means, you know? And so that's why it made me think of hypnosis is definitely like, there must be someone among the Gorsei or Emu who is definitely using that to, you know. And I'm also wondering, what if that's like in details connected to the voice entry? Like instead of wiping out the records, you're wiping out people's memories. And massively.
It's more than just that as well. It's wiping out their hope. Like if these people, like we've seen, like when Vegapunk mentioned that the devil fruits are most likely, it's just a theory, a food theory, but like we mentioned that they're like they're all of the potential like futures for human evolution, and it's like people's hopes and dreams like from another dimension like being manifested. I'm paraphrasing so hard right now, but the thing is if you eliminate all hopes and dreams of like success or survival or a positive future, then you're only left with one thing, and that's like despair. And that's when maybe Emu can take control. It's like when Bonnie was being held by Saturn and they were like, give me a giant future or whatever, and her powers did not work because Saturn's like, all you see is like dismay. Like you don't have a bright future ahead of you, so you can't use that power. And so it's similar. I like what you said. It's like it's eliminating their hopes and their dreams, and the systemic of this world. So many people cannot even imagine a world where some of these things that Luffy is able to do are possible. And we've seen him punch the sense into certain characters like Vivi, Katakuri, and all of this. And it's like he's removing those inhibitors so that these characters are no longer being like blinded or controlled by that narrative. You know what I mean? So I think that's really crazy. And there's so much deeper that we can go with this. It's actually wild.
I know.
So I am gonna drop this before we go any more further on this whole thing. Is that I told Lucas when I read the chapter. Obviously, I don't believe it, but when I first read the chapter and I saw Imu's hair, and I went back on the flashback, and this is crazy, right? But I'm wondering if when we're looking at Gonko seeing the flashback, what if it's two different flashbacks for the two different people? I'm wondering if at one point I said, what if the father one is actually actually Imu's memories, because Imu's also inside Gonko. Like Gonko literally connected to our memories, at the same time we're seeing a memory of Imu, like Void Century, pre-Void Century stuff.
Yeah.
That was just a thought. I don't believe 100%, but I said that's an interesting thought if we're actually seeing two different. Because when I looked at the hair of the way Imu's hair is on Gonko, there is, and obviously we never see Gonko with long hair, but that girl who has those eyes bandaged does also have those long hair. So I've always wondered, like, what if that's Imu's memory?
I thought something similar, but I think Gunko has her hair tucked into her collar, and it's Imu's hockey and stuff is causing it to flow out. But yeah, maybe. But I still do I think that's a very interesting point, that maybe Imu entering her body caused Gunko to see a memory of hers that related completely to a memory that Imu will have later in the story. I think that you've noticed something. Like I said, yeah, it's not 100% just like you said, but it is definitely food for thought. Now, Knack, you have given us your thoughts on the Holy Land a little bit. Vex, you said you had something spicy before we get into final rankings.
So, I mean, obviously, it's been left ambiguous. We could think that maybe Luffy, because Blackbeard straight up told Luffy, get ready. What does that mean? And, we know that the Revs have been circling like sharks, waiting for the Holy Knights to step out of the picture, and they've touched down here. So, and Dragon said that's when we mobilize. So maybe it's the Revs as well. We have also been wondering where Cross Guild is this whole time. There's like I said earlier, all these different factions that it could be, but I don't think anybody is truly analyzing a point that the thing is there's one person I think is flying under everybody's radar right now as far as who could be responsible for the Holy Land being on fire or a sea of flames.
Arlong.
And it's no. No, I've heard all of that. Like even the blue hockey, but no. Hear me out. Okay, so who was
Arlong? Yeah.
Hear me out. Okay, so who was the person who had just been invited into the ranks of the Celestial Dragons, who had access to nuclear power? What if this was York?
Oh,
who had
man.
What if Vegapunk had this all planned out ahead of time, and they knew that this is how things would play out, and York went there under the guise of a traitor and actually set off a fusion bomb or something at the Holy Land? No, I haven't heard anybody bring this up.
Thought. That's
I haven't
such
heard
a wild
anybody
thought.
bring this up.
Yeah, because it's
I'm gonna bring up
baseless. No, it's interesting. It's very interesting. Go ahead,
during Egghead, when people were making different theories on why York was a traitor, stuff like that, and also the whole Celestial Dragon thing. And I remember there was this one Reddit post where someone says, since York is Desire, what if there's something that basically, we all have that thought of, and the idea is we all have those horrible thoughts, that we have intrusive thoughts, getting so upset, I would just burn everything down, type of thing. And he said, what if basically York is acting on a dream that Vegapunk put aside, the worst time in Vegapunk's life, and he had a certain desire to make them really pay. And basically, it seems that York is all lovey-dovey with the thing, but what if it's like something that Vegapunk will never do because of his morals? But it's like a dark dream of Vegapunk, his like perfect vengeance. So that's what's interesting. So it could be something that Vegapunk had it within him, and York is actually acting on it because it's corrupted and it's desire. It's just acting on it.
We see the Holy Knights like being called elsewhere, and we see specifically the food supply being like, there's already chaos and panic in the Holy Land for several different reasons, but who was Vegapunk, or at least one version of Vegapunk, talking to when the Straw Hats pulled up? Dragon.
Yeah,
like this could have literally all, and like that's something I brought up earlier, is my biggest issue with Egghead is the York traitor reveal. This could make that better. Yeah. Like this could make that actually make sense. And Lilith is the evil, right? And so maybe this was like part of their master plan or something. I don't know. Or like, yeah, like we viewed Vegapunk as this altruistic being who is just like, oh, I'm going where the bag is. I'm morally gray. But what if they truly understood the depravity of the world government the entire time, and their desire
is to take it down from the inside,
burn it all to the ground.
Oh exactly. Man, so this is
like
gold.
I'm saying,
but also like there's
like,
nothing.
Head cook for a reason. Head cook for a reason. That's amazing.
And I'm gonna bring up something that I think I know I thought of this, but I think we all spit on it like throughout Egghead, of because of how the flashback was, and I'm a big believer of it. When you see in the Kuma flashback, when Vegapunk, before he creates a satellite, how quick he is with his humor, but when he made his satellite and he's like Stella, right? And Bonnie's making jokes of him, he's not getting them, and he's like he becomes more philosophy. He talks more about philosophies and actual science. Like there's a change to it, and we have talked about what if like Vegapunk, before he created a satellite, he made his master plan, but when what if Stella was remove certain memories, and only when they become complete that they see the bigger picture. So it could be a plan that Vegapunk created, made up even before the satellite. So the satellites were only preview to a part of that mission. So when they fused at the end, they knew the plan that was over 2 years ago.
Yeah, think of the full narrative as well. Is like we expect Blackbeard and Dragon to be these like fully end game threats for Final War times, and yes, the Final War could be right around any corner now that we're in the final saga. But I think that it would make a little bit more sense if something that was a little bit loose and unresolved from the previous arc, Egghead, an arc that already bled into so many other events and was this would make them, in my head, the way that I'm seeing it, this actually makes the most sense. And I have heard nobody else talking about it.
If Vex is right about this, guys, massive dub. Massive dub.
Another point to fortify it, it's always something that I always found very interesting, is two things. The way Dragon was still so in disbelief of Vegapunk willing to work for the world government. And Vegapunk was like, oh, there's still good people on good side, but he was like, he had conviction. Like, but Vegapunk is smart enough to know who he's dealing with. That was the problem with Dragon. And then you see the cover story of when Vegapunk meets the Gorosei. His face, like it almost means like mission complete. Like there's more to it. So I'm wondering if it's like that's why we never got a real flashback of Vegapunk in Egghead, which was a weird arc because it had the Straw Hats, but they were saving Vegapunk. But we got Kuma's it's like it was a very interesting way of showing someone's flashback, for an arc.
I agree.
So like, what if it's like one point when we get the Mad Bat's backstory? I still believe that Vegapunk is the one who snitched on himself. If York is willing to snitch on his own group, I think it's because Vegapunk is capable of doing that.
I think
what if it's like a 20-year master plan? And
look at Lelucia. The revolution in 8 different countries could have been just the 8 countries that were closest to Marie Joie, like in each of the blues and across like the Grand Line and New World, like the Paradise and New World, because they would have been like, yo, if we're gonna give them this weapon of mass destruction that will eventually shoot themselves in the foot, that's the whole end game, they're probably gonna test it first. And who was there coincidentally to free the people of Lelucia, at least most of them, before their full extinction event? Sabo, a revolutionary. If the Revs and Vegapunk were planning this all along, that would make perfect sense. Is if like it's just all adding up. You know what I mean? Is that this is all part of Stella's master plan.
I love this, but Vex is the Charlie with the corkboard right now. He's like, it's all tied together, baby. Like, but I love it. It makes so much sense, especially the Lelucia stuff. To give, like you said, to give them something that they're just going to end up shooting themselves in the foot with. Brilliant.
And you know what? I might have getting motivation because it always bothered me. There was one of the many flashbacks we got in Egghead. That one was just out of left field. It just came out of nowhere, showing that 26 years ago, that discussion between Clover and Vegapunk, and revealing to Vegapunk that he had a chance to help Clover and he didn't. And we see that he is hurt by his friend's death, and the fact that it's burning. What if like this whole thing is his requiem for Clover?
Mm-hmm.
Ooh.
You know, his honoring Clover. Honoring Clover. Like, he basically came up with it 22 years ago when he was in O'Hara with Vegapunk. Basically, he has already been in world government, but like, what if during that time, what happened to Clover made him this 20-year plan? Which I'm naming 20-year plan because Shiki called his plan the 20-year plan, and Blackbeard as well. They both had 20-year plans. What if Vegapunk had a 20-year plan himself?
Everything in One Piece comes in threes. I like that. I like this a lot.
Yeah, and let's say it's right that the Stella we've met in Egghead is not the true Vegapunk, so he's missing certain information. Stella was the one who said, I don't know why Stussy joined the world government, but what if it was the original Vegapunk? The reason why Stella just doesn't have those memories, you know?
Yeah.
Because Stella is because Stussy is 100% loyal to Vegapunk. It's crazy, you know? So it could be like he's playing chess, you know? Not even chess, he's playing like 10D chess.
Yeah, I agree.
We just can't see the moves. But it's interesting, honestly. But
one more piece of icing on the cake is that like Stella was behind the pacifistas, and we know that like there was like a bomb inside of Kuma the whole time. It's like, what if that was like his first attempt? He's like, what if I like have this guy infiltrate them? Like, he's already fully committed his life, you know, to the cause. And this is a Rev, by the way. Kuma is a revolutionary. What if this is how we get on the inside of the world government, and then we take him out with a bomb? That wasn't, he understood the scope is much larger than what he was able. So like, I think, dude, I feel like there's so much supporting this.
Yeah.
Like, honestly.
Now, good light. Make a video, brother. This is spicy. But yeah, guys.
Go
ahead. I was gonna say let's do final thoughts, but do your point first, and then we'll get into it.
I was gonna say, no, it's an interesting theory. Obviously, I'm I'm still big on the whole Rev stuff. Obviously, my bias, but it would be an interesting storyline. If it's not the Rev, I would like that York thing, because if it's Cross Guild or another group or Blackbeard Pirates, it's cool, but it's too, you know what I mean? We're expecting it, so I would like for something that we're not expecting.
I think so as well. And like the Revs and York can work simultaneously with the way that Vex is hypothesizing about it. Yeah, like it's brilliant. I think that may be one of the best theories you've ever came and like brought to us, brother. Like that is insane. Yeah. That is such a wild take, and I'm 100% here for it. But yes, we are now at final thoughts and ratings. Knack, hit me with you first, baby. Hi.
I enjoyed some aspects of this chapter a lot. I enjoyed I won't say I enjoyed the Robin and Rania stuff, but I did get a little emotional with both of it. I gave this chapter an 8.5 out of 10. I thought it did a lot of stuff, but like I said, I'm not one for the fights.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair one. Cube, what about you?
So honestly, it was between two gradings, but I decided to put it at a 9. But it was very close to being a 10. I just feel like it would have been a 10 if the Brook and Gokko thing was a bit more fleshed out. Because I do like, I've been, ever since you know me, I've been saying, guys, Brook needs to start talking about something because he seems to know stuff. You've known me. So this is the chapter I've been waiting for so long. He's been my Roman Emperor for so long. But I feel like there is also like too much mystery around it. So it like even though I'm like I'm getting it, it could also be this thing like Vex said that you might not like where it's going to at all. It's a storyline that comes out of left field completely. So that's something
Yeah.
a 9 out of 10. But for
9
the
out of
rest,
10.
if it wasn't for that small part, the rest for me is a 10 out of 10. It's just that part lowers it a bit for me because it's
Yeah.
too much of a mystery.
Vex, what about you, brother? Where are you sitting at?
Oh man. When I first read this chapter, I was a lot harsher on it than in this discussion, and the grade that I originally would have given this chapter would have been like a 5.
Oh, ow. Ooh.
I thought there was some inconsistency with timing, like Scopper's doing all of this stuff and somehow these I don't know, it's like it feels like 5 seconds turned into an hour, and it feels like there was some unfortunate nerfing of certain characters, and so it led to kind of inconsistent action sequences as well, because like there's so much that was, I feel like, just kind of rushed with the Scopper versus Gunko stuff, and the lack of tangible connections between like what's going on with Gunko and Brook. Like really the only standout part of this chapter for me is the emu hype. And so it's not a bad chapter, but I did have several points where I was like, this doesn't seem like what Oda has been providing with us very consistently. So I was let down on a certain couple of fronts. I've reread it a dozen or so times since, and I've come up on some of that, but I was very harsh originally. I think the highest I can give this chapter at this point is 7, which is a passing grade, but I don't know. I think hype is what really, really carries this chapter for me.
Yeah. I think I've said most of what I've wanted to say about the chapter. I think it was a great chapter for theory crafting. There's a lot to speculate on, especially with the emu stuff. As I've been revisiting my deal with the devil theory and stuff, I just feel like every other chapter I'm getting more fuel to the fire for it. That said, I do also feel like the Gabon stuff could have been presented a little bit better. I thought the action panels were good. They were fluent, but like Nak said, I think they were a little bit too fluent because I read right through them. But yeah, overall, I think I'm gonna give this one an 8 out of 10. Okay, nice. There's a lot of what questions now, which Oda's a mastermind of mystery boxes. So what's the average on our scores then, guys? 8.5, a 9, a 7, and an 8. I'd say what, in 8.5 average? 8 average?
Yeah, around 8. Between 8 and 8.5.
An 8 average overall is not bad. That's a good chapter right there. But so yes,
I am gonna.
Oh, go ahead.
I am gonna bring what I want this to be the last thought for. It's not a break week, guys. So next week we have a chapter. Remember what I said in Wano. The last time someone was able to go Gear 5, so go in Sun God Nika mode, was 800 years ago. There might be a reunion of 800 years between Imu and Nika. I'm very excited about that. When you think about it, it might have been 800 since the foundation of the world government that Imu has laid eyes on that person that that person he despises.
Yeah, that's definitely a spicy thoughts. Chat, let us know what you think in the comments below. Of course, like, subscribe, join the Discord if you feel so inclined. We chill in there all the time, in the VCs, in the discussion channels. So jump in there if you want to. And with that, we've been the Eternal Dawn. Nak, take us away, baby.
Jesus Christ.
Hold on, wait. Kube, take us away.
We'll see you all at the next sunrise, guys. Bye.